Hello and welcome to UC Partner Summit. I'm Tom Wright from UC today, and in this session, we're going to be talking about how partners and service providers can sell UCaaS into the digital workplace. And I'd like to start by asking our panelists to just give us a quick overview of themselves and the companies they work for. So, Chris, maybe we'll start with you.
Hi, Tom. My name's Chris Selby-Rickards. I'm the UK Marketing Director for Enfon UK. We are the UK subsidiary of Enfon AG or Enfon Group, who are the largest pan-European provider of cloud business communications.
Great. I'm Brian Butler, founder and CEO of Alianza. Alianza is the communications cloud alternative to the legacy switching infrastructure for service providers. So primarily powering service providers, communication services that they in turn brand and resell to their end users. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, and good morning, everyone from the United States. My name is Jay Weisblatt. I head up the channel specialist organization at Zoom Communications. So Zoom is more than just video conferencing that so many people are familiar with. We're a full UCaaS platform and ever growing and expanding. My team, we work directly with our channel, all types of channel, from referral, resale, service provider, integrators, and we work to help them build deep practices around the different parts of the Zoom portfolio.
Cool. Well, thank you all for joining us. We've got a nice sort of mixture of businesses here targeting different customers, which is great. But I'd like to start with quite a broad question. I wonder if you could talk through some of the biggest challenges that partners and service providers are finding when they're selling UCaaS at the moment. Maybe Jay, we'll go to you since we just heard from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So really one of the biggest areas that we're seeing challenges is the partner's ability to differentiate, grow and differentiate. So they have there are so many different products out on the market, and most of the partners that we work with sell multiple vendors. And so them being able to figure out what their secret sauce is, how they are going to build more pipeline, how they're going to attack the market, what services that they're going to offer in terms of not just deployment and support, but also the professional services, the integrations, the how they're going to tie in ecosystem, consulting even. So some of the partners aren't as they were maybe like 10 or so years ago. They're not as able to build as much of a thriving business purely on just selling a product and walking away. Customers are asking for more. And so them being able to figure out what their approach to the market is, how they're going to differentiate and stand out from a lot of their competition.
Yeah, maybe I could just build on that a little bit more. I like what Jay said, differentiate. I mean, I think as a market, I just saw a research note this last week that said that this is the year that UCaaS will kind of cross over the tipping point of 50% market penetration. And with that, I think comes a lot of different dynamics, right? It's no longer like kind of the land grab that it's been for the last decade. Now it's all about differentiation, specialization, vertical solutions. And I think, for service providers and resellers alike, trying to find, hey, how do I stand out amongst a more crowded marketplace and a more competitive landscape where I'm going after customers that are later to move, later to adopt, maybe have certain hurdles that didn't exist for the first half of the market that moved over the last decade, and really trying to nail those solutions down. I think a big part of that, at least for the service provider community, is leveraging their ability to bundle and figuring out, hey, how are we going to bundle in this new market where we can really take advantage of broadband assets that we have and building a communications experience that's streamlined, that's more secure, that's higher quality because of those broadband assets, and really leveraging strengths. And I think you could say the same thing for the reseller channel where they have that local presence and local touch. What else are you bringing to the table? How else are you going to differentiate and stand out? What's the other, the service offering and the bundle that you're going to bring to bear that helps you stand out?
I don't know what I could say that hasn't already been said. I think there's one word that stands out in all of that, which is differentiation. If you look at customer experience trends at the moment, for example, globalization has had a massive impact on, people's customer loyalty and things like that. And it's not really any different when you have, and I will use the UK as the example because it is my market, but a market that is as fiercely competitive as the UK, you get pricing consolidation. So you need to find a way that makes you stand out with a criteria that's outside of pricing. Particularly we work in the SME market. A lot of our partners, our resellers, are smaller enterprises. They're small companies. And they don't necessarily have some of the internal skills resources that perhaps they need. In particular, especially through the pandemic, you see more and more different types of resellers coming to the market. Your traditional telcos are not being replaced, but being added to by MSPs and IT resellers, print resellers, people like that. And these people, it's that they're looking for that value add, that additional support. They need support with marketing, go-to-market strategies. Lots of people don't have a clue when it comes to things like social media and building demand generation and stuff like that. So, just to add to what the guys have already said, it is that differentiation. If I can't necessarily compete on price because everyone's selling at the same thing, how am I actually going to cut through all of that noise?
Well, not only that, but I think the baseline bar is higher and higher than it ever was before. What was just your the standard expectations of a partner, a reseller, or service provider, the bar's been lifted. Customers are, what used to be a differentiation isn't anymore. So customers are asking for, not only do they want to be sold something, but they want the services built in and wrapped in, and they also, their ability to transact in the different models, between the US and the UK and around Europe, even between the US and Canada, there's different regulatory requirements around UCaaS that can be stifling at times. And the expectations that the partners that they're working with be able to transact, those different models used to be something that were a differentiation, and now it's a must-have. So the areas for them to separate themselves are becoming narrower and narrower.
I think, Brian, you mentioned it as well. You were talking about bundling, and what we've been finding as well with we do a lot of direct lead gen. We don't sell directly, but we do direct lead gen that we then nurture and pass to our partners. And a lot of the smaller businesses, those kind of sub 10, something like that, they are looking for somebody that can give them all these services, one price, one contract, one number to call if they have a service issue. And so what you're seeing again is this huge rise in, for example, IT resellers who are able to provide that Office 365, that connectivity. They're bringing on voice. So I think, I know we're later on talking about how we think that the channel will change, but whether your telco resellers will start flipping around and actually bringing in that offering as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting for sure. I think they have to, right? You have to look at all routes to market.
And it's been obviously a transformational couple of years for everyone, and this industry is sort of no different. It's been incredibly important for keeping everyone connected. But I'd be interested to know how you as vendors have had to adapt to keep serving your customers and your channel partners and service providers. And I wonder if the kind of demands they have of you are changing at the moment.
We've always been a UCaaS provider, so in terms of having to adapt our business to sell UCaaS, nothing's changed there. I think particularly in the last 2 years, where you would traditionally want to go in and actually spend quality time face-to-face with a new partner, taking them on that onboarding roadmap, bringing them up to speed, doing very important training, which, yes, we as a vendor offer online training, but actually we found that in most cases, that traditional sit down face to face just works better from a technical perspective, but also from a sales perspective as well. So I think one of our biggest challenges is finding ways to get round that hurdle, and still be able to deliver the high quality service that the partners expect from us, but also be able to get them ready to sell, ready to go to market in the same amount of time. And it's not been easy at all for us anyway.
Well,
But I think we succeeded.
I don't know. I think it kind of goes without saying the transformation that Zoom has gone through over the we 2 years. We became, my grandmother knows what Zoom is, yet the previous employer, Fortune 50 company that I worked with, I still had to explain every single time exactly what it was.
I think we're all thankful for Zoom for the last couple of years.
But equally, not only with the evolution and the transformation of our products and the solutions that we have, but within the channel. To be quite frank, our channel is really only 2 to 3 years old right now. So we have been furiously and heavily investing in not only building our channel, but building out, more importantly, the resources and the support that we have inside of Zoom. The channel organization is the fastest growing organization inside of all of Zoom. With our, if you look at our numbers and the employee growth that we've had, a large percentage of that has been attributed to channel. Most recently, we've made tremendous investments in not only setting up the operations and how we work with different channel partners and different routes to markets, but we've also just focusing on making them more and more successful. First of all, from a partner enablement standpoint, quite frankly, a year and a half ago, partner enablement were 2 instructional designers, furiously working until their fingers bled. Now we have multiple organizations focused on partner enablement. I say partner enablement, and I mean that oftentimes training and enablement are used synonymously. They are very different. And so I'm talking about full enablement, not just the education and the knowledge, but also setting them up for success, tools and resources, just heavy investment there. And quite frankly, as a shameless plug, my entire organization, my team of the Global Channel Specialist Organization, we didn't exist a year ago. We've been around just about a year. And Zoom is invested in building out this team to be a global team across all the different products, solely focused on making partners successful at selling the different Zoom products. So we've been transitioning and responding to the growth in that way, just heavy internal investment and commitment to our channel partners.
Yeah, I'd echo both, what Jay and Christopher said. I mean, it's all about customer success, customer enablement, activating the channel or your, in our case, service provider partners, and really selling with them. So us, it's everything from, hey, we'll jump on, we'll do trainings, we'll provide branded marketing materials. You can just slap your logo on to educate your sales team. We'll do battle cards. We'll do competitive assessments in your market, help you size up how your packaging and pricing compares to the folks your sales team is across the table from every day. But if we need to, we'll also kind of swap out the Alianza polo, put on yours, and go sell with you. We'll respond to RFPs with you, kind of get right in the trenches with you. And so it's all about, in this model where we're all selling, tiered SaaS UC services, the incentives are very nicely aligned with the channel. So their success is our success, is the end user's success. And so in that type of dynamic, we have every incentive in the world to go team with them, help them, enable them to be as successful as possible. And I don't know that that's necessarily new. How we do that is new, right? Like over the last 2 years, I think about how much we've changed how we work. Christopher alluded to, missing that kind of in-person, contextual, go fast, just get down, hunker in a boardroom and a whiteboard and go fast. I don't think that's the case anymore. I mean, I've been increasingly surprised at how we've had to adapt to a new world where, now we're onboarding large national tier 1 operators to the Alianza platform without ever setting foot face to face in front of one another. And that's completely new for us. In the history of Alianza, we've always prided ourselves on personal relationships and, really diving deep, being on site, being accessible and available. and now accessible and available is different than getting on a plane and being there in person. And so I think that's a new normal is kind of, even as we get back to traveling, there's still a hybrid acceptance now for we can do a lot more remote. And I think that's great. It's all of us kind of eating our own dog food, you know.
So I think it's fair to say that 2020 maybe and a big part of 2021, video was dominating a lot of conversations, but there are certainly people in the industry who say that voice is either making a comeback or never went away or as important as ever. So I'd be interested to get your thoughts on where voice fits into a UCaaS platform, and should a platform be video led or voice led, or does it matter?
I firmly believe that it is voice first. We've done a lot of research recently around customer contact solutions, customer experience, things like that, and very much based around the omni-channel model, and voice or the use of the telephone came out way and above in terms of percentage at the sort of top. I think we were looking at something like 57 or 58% from memory, and so I think I don't think it ever went away. I think video is very, very important, but I think voice will always probably stay at the forefront.
See, I would approach it that we're at the point where there is no first. I think it's the demands of the market are the flexibility to be able to meet the way that they want. Collaboration and communications can be very, very personal. I mean, we all sit on video calls all the time, and there's always those holdouts who are reluctant to turn on their camera. And that's just one example of, people, they feel vulnerable, or for whatever reason, there's a comfort component. So there's kind of that culture piece. There's also as Brian was talking about earlier about, everything is different now in how we meet. We don't get on a plane and see everyone face to face. We eat our own dog food. But with that comes the need for the flexibility to meet each of the people that we're targeting in the way that either they want to or they need to at that moment. So I wouldn't say video first or voice first. I would say that it is the flexibility to meet the way they want, integrate them together, and not certainly not divide. So it's a different experience, but also make them siloed, where it's only video or it's only voice. Video allows for, like this. I can see all you gentlemen and see your eyes, your head nodding, and get a deeper, fuller, richer experience and connection with each of you. And sometimes that's often preferred, but it's necessary to achieve some of the goals that you have. But also at times you need the flexibility and the mobility of being audio only, and not have that be separate experience or in some cases considered a lesser. And then even let's throw chat in there as well. With chat, we've got the true flexibility, the quick message. I need to get something to you, but there's no time for talk. There's no time for video. So I would say that the kind of the evolution of all of these components coming together makes it platform first, as opposed to voice, video, or any other product.
Yeah, I mean, I'd add to that a little bit. I can see kind of both sides. Like, for the last decade, Allianz has positioned ourselves as the cloud voice platform company for service providers. We're helping displace legacy soft switches. And over the last 2 years, even right prior to the pandemic starting, we'd repositioned the company as a cloud communications platform company. Slight nuance from just voice to broader set of communications, but I think it does dovetail nicely with what Christopher and Jay talked about, that this is all about flexibility for the end user. And not just the end user, but the end consumer that's interacting with our customer, right? And so thinking about this multi-tiered communication approach, where you have an end user trying to get a hold of an enterprise, or an enterprise communicating within the organization to other coworkers and whatnot, those can be very different experiences. And I think about how we've transitioned from a voice-centric company to a company that now does collaboration, video, business text messaging, enterprise messaging, and really bringing all those solutions under a single umbrella so that the end user can pick and choose what's the best medium for communicating in this moment, given the contextual understanding of the message that's being sent. Sometimes it's a text message to a business to reschedule a doctor's appointment, and you just want to text their primary phone number. Sometimes it's a messaging platform like inside your organization. Other times, hey, let's just jump on a quick video chat. And other times, I'm on the road, I want to take a mobile call, or I want to join a meeting, remote. I think it's all about flexibility, interoperability, and creating a simple experience to kind of transition from one medium to another based on the needs of the end user at a given point in time.
I've just got a couple more questions for you guys. We've flown through this, which is great. I just wonder if you are experiencing any partners or service providers that they've done really well selling traditional comms and they're a bit reluctant to let go of that and move to selling UCaaS. Are you experiencing that? And if so, what do you say to those partners and service providers?
Heck, I could start lead off on this one if you want me to. I mean, it's the tradition. I mean, we deal with this all the time. So this is, the traditional service providers are telcos, cable companies, fiber broadband, wireless broadband operators that have been delivering basic voice services for decades. In many cases, they are the utility communications providers for their customers. Their brand is synonymous with communication services. And for so long, that's been fairly simple, straightforward voice services. And now they're being flooded with requests from customers and from, competition coming in from all angles, selling differentiated services. And so, they are being pulled into this. In some cases, I will say, running towards it, excited about it, and seeing the growth opportunity for them to transition from a one-dimensional revenue stream to a multi-dimensional revenue stream. In other cases, these are hard products and hard skills to learn. It's not like selling a SIP trunk or a basic voice line. UC can be, more complex. And I think one of the things that we try to pride ourselves on is we try to extrapolate out the complexity of that complex communications infrastructure and make it simple for the service provider, make it simple for the reseller channel partner. Put it all behind a simple, single intuitive admin portal with, whether it's quoting help, branding help, or whatnot. Really try to take that complexity out of it and make it simple for them has got to be a key part of the equation going forward, because at scale, as the other members of the panel will tell you, at scale this is difficult, and you have to be able to streamline as much as possible and really remove the hesitancy and burdens that definitely I would say exist within pockets of the market.
Yeah, in general, so to those partners that are, you asked about like any sort of reluctance or difficulty in moving over. While Brian's spot on, the transition can be difficult. The market is still in the middle, but I think any partners who are feeling like they're challenged or hesitant to take that leap, they are already, not even soon, they are already going to see themselves cutting themselves out of the market. The cloud transition has been alive and well for quite a while. We're seeing it ramp up and amplify, obviously, over the last 2 years because of the needs. We've seen it accelerate even further. Quite frankly, if partners, resellers, and other channel routes are not eager and willing to take that step, they're going to fall behind, and it will be difficult to survive the industry if they aren't making that. There's plenty of place for on-prem those type of solutions. Those aren't going away completely, but a lot of the solutions that customers need can be served through a more flexible kind of cloud model. And partners who can't transition to that it'll be a deal breaker for a lot of their install base.
Agree with all of the above. I think perhaps for the UK, I would just add ISDN switch off. Kind of answers that. You've then got obviously enablement routes like SIP, or you go to full UC, but a lot of partners won't have a choice. It is obviously the responsibility of the vendor to ensure that that transition is as smooth and straightforward as possible. So,
okay, I've just got one final question for you all, hopefully to put you on the spot a little bit. Could you give us one prediction for how you think the UC channel will evolve over the course of this year? Brian, I'll go to you first for that.
Yeah, geez, if I had to nail one prediction, it would be resurgence of bundling. This has got to be a year where service providers really take advantage of their broadband assets, bundle more heavily, figure out how to bring these, what's an ever increasingly broader set of communications applications and capabilities into a bundle that leverages their broadband capabilities. I think they do that, they win share.
I think we'll see a lot more larger businesses that sell products that have nothing to do with communications coming into the market with acquisitions, buying up maybe groups of smaller partners or even some larger partners. I've already seen it happening in order to give themselves a ready to go base to sell UC.
Yeah, I would say, kind of going back to the top of what we were saying, is the how flexible they are around differentiation and how partners come in that way. We talked about how it's so much more than just kind of selling the product. We are already seeing partners that are positioning themselves with customers to be more than just vendors, but really problem solvers for their customers. So a lot of that, it's that trusted advisor that we've always talked about, but really starting to implement that quite a bit more as with some of the solutions that they need. A product is just a product, but it's the way that you apply it, and that's more than just how it integrates with other technologies and solutions. And from UCaaS, is it are you using, like from Zoom's case, like the Zoom native solution, or are you using a service provider to provide the calling plans, but all the way to how they work together, how they solve business problems. There's always a reason why a customer is seeking a solution, and a partner's ability to hone in on that, refine that, bring in integrations, do consulting. That's that differentiation. I think we are going to have to see more and more of that to achieve what we were talking about at the very top, of these partners being able to stand out, create their own niche, and bring that true value to their customers.
Well, look, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been great to have you, and it's been very useful. Thank you.
Appreciate you having us. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
And thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoy the rest of UC Partner Summit, and we'll see you next time.